Companies that are really serious about AI are using these vector databases because of its ability to be able to take unstructured data like pictures, video, audio, convert it into numerical representations called vector embeddings. Hello everyone, Rasul here with Data Talent Advisors with another weekly video covering something that you may have heard a little bit more and more about over the last few months, and that is vector databases. We're definitely starting to see them on job descriptions. It'll be, I think, a little bit of time before we really see them on resumes, but you do see it here and there. But really what I wanted to do in this video was at a high level describe vector databases, what they're all about, and then kind of get into the talent acquisition side of things and what kind of candidates will have experiences with vector databases and what are some of the core skills that they need to have in order to be successful with them. So without further ado, let's get into vector databases, a very hot area that there's now been over $500 million invested, something like that. It's in that neighborhood. Companies like Facebook have created their own version like Face. There's a company called Pinecone. There is Chroma. There is Quadrant, Weaviate. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on. Single Store has a product, but the attributes on some of these different vector databases I'm sure will grow, but these are some of the ones that you'll see on job descriptions, things like that. So traditional databases really look more like a table, rows and columns. That's the way that they store data. But as you know, the AI race has started and AI is getting more and more into the mainstream, companies that are really serious about AI are using these vector databases because of its ability to be able to take unstructured data like pictures, video, audio, convert it into numerical representations called vector embeddings. So it almost looks like an IP address. It's like a numbers, dot, whatever. So for this picture of a cat, picture of a dog, or it could be a flower, it could be a particular song or whatever. All these are created into this numerical representation, which are called the vector embeddings. This allows machine learning to be able to find similarities. So you would find examples of this like recommendation engine. Let's say that you're shopping for certain types of shoes or whatever. The machine is able to identify other types of shoes that people with your type profile or with your type taste may have selected, or based on your own preferences, things like that. But it's able to create some of these different relationships or similarities, as it's really based on similarities and comparing that way. So the area that this is focused on is really machine learning, and I would say even deep learning. Okay, that's what vector databases focus on. But in this diagram here, I've just got an example of how it kind of works. The attributes that we're talking about are all the little granular pieces of data. So we're not talking about something that's three-dimensional, four-dimensional. It actually has maybe thousands of dimensions to the data. So for that reason, as you can imagine from an AI perspective, there's all kinds of ways that you can filter certain types of things that you're looking at based on very specific, intricate pieces of data. And the vector database, what it does is it's able to very efficiently store this data, and you can query it with very low latency. Okay, so I won't get too much into that. I don't want to make it into a computer science type video, but at a high level, that's what vector databases are all about. That's what they're for, naming some of the different ones, and you saw that in the chart. From a talent acquisition standpoint, when you see some of these different keywords in particular, it'll probably be some of the different companies that are behind some of these vector databases. You can pretty much expect that individual to have a pretty strong machine learning, even into deep learning type background. Okay? In some cases, depending on the company, this will either be a data scientist, and other cases, I want to say data engineer, but it's really more of a machine learning engineer. I consider anybody that has a data engineering title that's done a lot of things with machine learning and deep learning. I mean, they're really an ML engineer, but just from the nomenclature that HR teams have for the different roles at their company, they may be even listed as a software engineer. Okay, so you really have to look at what they're actually working on, things like that, to be able to determine what the person's background is all about. But as more and more of these job requisitions come out for machine learning engineers, folks like that, not only are they going to have some of the different machine learning Python libraries that we've talked about for like NumPy and scikit-learn, pandas, and some of the other ones that we listed, PyTorch, TensorFlow, to name a few, but they're now also going to have some of these experiences with vector databases. Unfortunately, I don't believe on the low end side of things as far as from a salary standpoint, because this is going to be a very small group of folks that's developing some of these skill sets and things like that. So, one of the ways that you're going to be able to also attract them to your company is if you have similar type interesting projects that are going on at your company. But, money's not really always the motivator necessarily, but if the actual projects that you have at your company are pretty interesting, it's a great way to be able to lure them, because it's more about solving problems and really creating cool systems that really excite many of these folks that I'm just going to go ahead and call them machine learning engineers that would be working on things like this. So at a high level, I've kind of covered, vector databases. If you have liked the video, like the content, we're getting more and more views every week. Please hit the notifications button, share it with your colleagues, like it, and be sure to follow me and follow Data Talent Advisors. And if you have questions or anything, just come to www.datatalentadvisors.com. And for this week's video, I'm over and out of here. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.